I'm sorry, Kenneth, I couldn't hear you.
Was Camille Cosby, she was not inside the courtroom at the time of the verdict? She was not?
No, as she was not. As she was last trial, she only appeared in court one day, and that was just for half a day. Same thing she did this time, and that was for the defense's closing argument. But you got to imagine, this is a woman who has been married to him for more than 54 years, who has been by his side, who has endured the death of 2 children with him, and now, you know, dealing with him and being legally blind, and these accusations that have dogged them for years. Yesterday, everyone saw it. You know, she was linked arms with him. She was smiling. She went into the courtroom. They were chatting very nonchalantly ahead of time. She kind of threw her arm around him, and he kissed her before the jury came in, gave her a quick kiss on the cheek. And this was a woman who has done the proverbial stand by your man. And we'll have to just see, you know, now what happens with Camille Cosby.
Lindsay, at this point, I know you've been talking with us, but have you heard any more from the prosecutors there?
So where I am, as you can tell, it's quite a distance away from the court steps. So I am unable to ascertain kind of what's happening now. And I would imagine the prosecution is kind of doing a victory speech because, you know, as you know, Kevin Steele, the district attorney here in Montgomery, he ran on this platform. He ran on this premise. He said, you know, Bruce Castor let him get away because he was a celebrity. And he said, and this is a serial rapist, and I am going to put him behind bars. Those were his commercials when he was running for this office. And so this has to mean a tremendous amount for Kevin Steele on a personal level.
Lindsay, you've been there on the ground since the beginning. I'm curious about your sense from the community. As you mentioned, the political pressure that was on Kevin Steele. When it comes to how the community is feeling about Bill Cosby, obviously he's put a lot of work at Temple University, which is nearby in Philadelphia. But again, it does not excuse, you know, obviously what he's just been convicted of. But the community there, that you've got a lot of people who still stand behind Bill Cosby.
Yes, there's a person who's out here in the street. That's why I keep turning, Kenneth, so pardon that. But who keeps yelling, and I don't know if they're angry or if they're celebrating the idea that Bill Cosby has been found guilty. But I say that to say, outside of the courthouse, this time as well as the first trial, you have people who are cheering him, and you have people who are shaming him as he's on his way in and on his way out. You hear jeers and cheers, and that has been consistent. So he does still have, as much as he has his detractors and people who couldn't wait to see him in prison, he has people who are also still enamored with Bill Cosby, still true fans, and he's a Philly guy. You know, as you said, he went to Temple, he regularly came back here, still kept his house here in Pennsylvania, a house that his mother once had cleaned, and then he bought this house for her as a gift before her passing, and then he kept this house, and this is the house that Andrea Constand visited on several occasions, and the house where she said that she had been drugged and sexually assaulted by Bill Cosby. But I say all this to say his roots here in this community are extremely deep, and there is a lot of division here today and in the past few years as this has become such a media issue, as far as if he's guilty or if he's not guilty.
We're looking at live images there from the chopper of those courthouse steps that Lindsay's not too far away from. We see someone who was just a woman who was throwing her arms up in the air in celebration. I think I see Gloria Allred, and that was one of the accusers who was actually pumping her fist in the air there. We see the crush of media that's just surrounding or near Gloria Allred as people make their way, I believe, to the podium to speak in front of the cameras. And we're definitely going to carry that live for you here on ABC News Live.